Greetings. Today we begin sermon number 8, message number 8 from 1 Peter chapter 1. Today we'll begin considering verses 18 through 20, and it's entitled, Understanding the Price Paid. Peter says, For as much as you know that you were not redeemed with corruptible things, as or like silver and gold, from your vain conversation, your vain manner of life received by tradition from your fathers, but by contrast, you were redeemed with the precious blood of Christ, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot, who verily or truly was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you. So again, we've considered from Peter to the selected sojourns, sanctified, sprinkled, and secured ones about God's purpose concerning the present sufferings and the future glorifications, following Christ's example, focusing on present service, identifying uniforms and standards. Now we must understand the price paid. The generation in which we live has never been informed, or worse yet, intentionally misinformed about many things of importance. They do not understand the price with which this great nation was founded. They say it is not and never was a great nation. To say such a thing is to discount, to disregard, and to disrespect the lives given in whole and in part to purchase the freedoms which so many take for granted. I've heard the quote, all gave some gave all, end quote. Every wounded combat veteran, as well as those who have given, quote, the ultimate sacrifice, end quote, are to be honored and respected and thanked. Likewise, they've been misinformed about the great price that was paid to purchase our freedom from sin, which allows us to be given the gift of eternal life instead of the eternal damnation and separation from God that we deserve. 1 Peter 1:18 literally says, having known and continuing to know that not by means of corruptible things, a silver or a golden thing, you all are ransomed by means of you all's particular vain handed down from your father's conduct. So without being highly technical, I need to mention the concept of the unexpressed but implied comparison, which we often use in the English language and others. For instance, in 1 Peter 1:18, Peter speaks about corruptible things. We're to understand that he's comparing or contrasting them to non-corruptible things. The same is true for the comparison of the tradition or their father's conduct in verse 18 and the gospel of grace that's spoken of in verses 19 and 20. So following the establishing of these two comparisons in these verses, Peter focuses on why the gospel of grace is the non-corruptible treasure which we should find and keep and cherish. First, Peter concedes the fact that those to whom he was writing already knew that they could not and were not redeemed by corruptible things. The perfect tense was employed, which means had known and continue to know. Peter acknowledges that there were traditions that some of these hearers had been subjected to at a point in the past tense of their lives. However, they had heard and believe the truth of the gospel. So let's notice the source of this tradition before we examine the content of the tradition itself. Strong's 3970 is a compound word found only here in the New Testament. It's composed of the regular word for father, pater, 3962, and the regular word for a handing down or over, 3680, paradidomai, to give or to hand over. So paradidomai carries the idea of involuntary confinement in the majority of its 118 uses. Like if you're put in jail, you're given over, you're handed for involuntary confinement. And so he's conveying that idea that these people have been imprisoned by traditions they got from their father, and we'll deal with that more next time.